What's wrong with you? You should know this.
Nah, bruv, I did that last time.
In frame,
Let's get it.
pillows, yeah.
Let's get it. We ain't got that much time.
No, we don't.
But we're gonna make it work. Hello, guys. Welcome to Step Up Unfiltered live edition. Second time we've done this. Second Brummie we've done it with actually as well.
Shout out to the Brummies.
Shout out to the Brummies. Welcome to Step Up Unfiltered, the home of unfiltered conversations with extraordinary individual.
Thank you.
Tackling life's biggest challenges and
we tried
bridging division. We try to. It's an open space. It's a safe space. Usually we're live on Luton Urban Radio, but as you can see, we're not today. We've got a big boys' day out in London. Duka was supposed to come to the studio. For reasons you don't even need to know, it didn't work out. But we're here today, and that's the main thing. We're going to have an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
To be able to check this out, you guys can get the live edition straight away after this, or tune in obviously now on YouTube. My tag is step.up.coaching. That's where you can also find a lot of my coaching content, and you can watch the episodes of Step Up Unfiltered in its full, and you can watch your favorite bits and clips. Now, without further ado, as I said, we haven't got much time today. If you could let the audience know, if they don't already know, your name, your age, your occupation,
Sure.
and a fun fact that they may not know.
So my name is Duka. I'm 34 years old.
Duka.
I'm 34 years old. So my occupation, I suppose, is a jack of all trades, a master of none. So I've worked in HR. I've worked within recruitment. I've worked as a stripper. I worked as a barista. I work as a bartender.
Stripper?
What? We're gonna get into this later on. So I've had a plethora of jobs in my 20s. Now that I'm in my 30s, I'm just about finding my way with what's what.
Love it. And a fun fact?
A fun fact, I mean, I've been on national telly. That's where most people know me from.
Yeah.
You know me as Duka, the friend, the loudmouth, the hothead. Whereas a lot of people know me as Duka that's been on obviously the program we're going to talk about in a little while.
Yeah, and that program, it kind of showed you as a bit of a different person, like very
It did. Calm, collected. And
very like overly respectful.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And the thing is, like, if you are in situations when you can't control anything else, what my mum and dad taught me is you gotta control yourself. Because anger used against you gives away all your choices, your opinions, and the people can sway you in exactly how they want to.
Especially in a social media world, I would say that is extremely rough. So yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I love that. We'll dig into that later.
Yeah.
So if we could start off with, what was your background like? Because I know you grew up in Yugoslavia.
Yeah, former Yugoslavia. Yeah.
Talk to us all about it, because that's something that I assume none of us can probably relate to.
Yeah, so, and this is the thing, I have a smile on my face now, but as you can imagine, going through that environment and growing up as a child in that environment, there's a lot of past trauma. There's like atrocities that people won't even imagine that I've gone through, I've been through, and right now I'm almost at the other end where I can laugh about it and accept it and be proud of the fact that I went through those struggles. So I was born in former Yugoslavia. Now my mother tongue is Albanian, so a lot of people, if you do your history around the Yugoslavian civil wars and Slobodan Milosevic and the Serbs and all the rest of it, can go into it and fact find and look at all the statistics and look at about the ethnic cleansings, look about people going to different villages and raping and pillaging and trying to abolish your identities.
Great.
You know what I mean? But we left that struggle and came over to England when I was at the age of 10.
Whoa. If you don't mind, I'd like to dig into that.
Go for it.
First of all, first question is, what is former Yugoslavia? What is it now?
So
And
former
talk to us about
Yugoslavia, that's a very good question. So former Yugoslavia, well, it used to be what Great Britain is now. Now Great Britain has got 4 countries.
Yes.
It's got Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and England. That's 5 countries. Sorry, not 4, 5. But
No, 4.
is it? Northern Ireland.
Republic Islands is the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is that former Yugoslavia used to be a country. So it used to be Macedonia, it used to be Serbia, Montenegro. Where it's now Montenegro and Serbia, they've been split up.
Yeah.
You got Croatia, you got Bosnia, you got Kosovo, you got all Macedonia. So you got all these sort of Eastern European Balkan countries that was all in one. And obviously what happened in the 90s is that there was a lot of turmoil and unrest in terms of land, who owns what the history is behind certain land, and who speaks what language, who truly is the right custodians of that particular land. And that's how these ethnic cleansings and these civil wars happened.
So was it each country fighting against each other, or was it like mainly like 2 sides in most wars?
It was basically, the thing is that one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist. And that's the complexity when it comes to the Yugoslavian civil war. Now, from the outside looking in, from the Western perspective, it was mostly the Serbs, Slobodan Milosevic and the war generals from Serbia that was going out and about in different countries and trying to do the whole ethnic cleansing, such as if you're Muslim, if you're not part of their aligned efforts in getting rid of, for example, the native Albanians from Kosovo, and so on.
Okay.
That's I mean, you could write books around this.
Yeah.
But as you can imagine, it's like a short synopsis of what's really happened. If you really want to dig into the history further, it's pretty much a bit like Ukraine now, or Gaza and Palestine.
Yeah.
But that was back in the 90s, and back then social media wasn't really a thing.
Of course, yeah.
So a lot of these things went unheard of, and even now they're finding mass grave sites around Yugoslavia, where it's like, wow, stuff really went down. As you can imagine, I laugh about it now because I went through that struggle and sparked.
So have you seen a lot of that?
Yeah. I've been through a lot. So when people talk about mental health problems or mental health struggles, and you live in a first world country and you got a roof over your head and you don't have people knocking down your front door because they're trying to do stuff to you or they're trying to kick you out of your land, like people don't know. But I try not to speak about it because people can't relate.
So what can you tell us about it and talk to us about it before we talk about the fleeing.
Sure. So
and what would you have been considered? Would you have been considered a native Albanian who would have been protected by the Serbs?
So I would have been considered a native Albanian, so therefore I would have been hunted down by the Serbs. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. But that was in dispute of obviously Kosovo and who the rightful owners of that particular part of the land was, because if you look at Kosovo now, the Republic of Kosovo, 95% of speakers are Albanian speakers.
Okay.
But again, from the Serbian perspective, it's like, well, that's our land. This is kind of like a similar perspective as Gaza versus Palestine.
Yeah.
And from the age of from being born in 1990 up to the age of 10, it was towards the back end of what was happening. My parents tried to shield me from a lot of it, because obviously young child, you're impressionable, you don't know what's going on. All you know is a little village, you're making bows and arrows and slingshots out there with the woods.
Did you go to school?
Yes, I went to school.
So there was still school out
there? Was still school. There was still a sense of normalcy, but as it got bad, that's when my parents decided, you know what, this is too close to home, too much is happening at this point in time. We're going to have to try and have a better future, not only for ourselves, but for our son as well, because when it comes to a point that your life is no longer, quote unquote, in your hands, then you got to take every single possible chance or advantage to try and find a better life.
Sure. And all I'm going to say, before we move on to, what kind of things did you see as a child?
So basically...
So we can try and relate.
All right. So to pull it in a non-descriptive way that put people off and turn people off. Basically, kids was walking around with AK-47 bullets, and those that freely about and used that me as a kid sometimes I'd be stupid. I get these AK-47 bullets, toss them in fires to see them explode. Like that's how rife weapons, arms, guns, and stuff was around at that point in time.
And what's values like? You know, they've got everything going on, you know, against, you know, women feel like they're victimised, and it's been a massive feminist, female empowerment movement in the UK and the US. What's it like in those type of countries at that time?
Oh, those types of countries, man. Like, I'm not going... traditional, yes. I'm not going to say that those are first world problems, because there are problems that do exist, and there are women that are undervalued, underspoken of, because I've seen it happen. But in terms of when you are in almost a life or death situation, almost on a daily basis, it's no longer about, you know, job rights, work rights, who gets paid more or less. It's more about, we're trying to survive. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I don't care what age you are. We're just trying to make sure we hold together as a unit and survive and see through to the next day.
I always say, like, when the S hits the fan, and if we ever got into a world war, all of this men, you know, trying to...
non-nuancical stuff.
Men, you know, all men want to be women, women want to be men, all of this kind of stuff would change.
Goes out the window, will change in a heartbeat. Yeah. Then you do what's required of you, man or woman. It doesn't matter. If you want true equality, right?
We won't argue about such nuanced points.
So, exactly. Yeah. And a lot of it in the West is very nuanced points, and about, you know, depression, and then, you know, having no purpose and all the rest of it. Because most people, if they have full control of their lives and they have no purpose, that's when they start going to a downward spiral of depression, what my life really means. But if your life is truly not in your hands, I guarantee you, if you go to any person that's feeling down about themselves, is going through suicidal thoughts or depression or anxiety, if you, at that point in time, your choice of life is taken out of your hands, you're going to love your life to death. Because then life will no longer be in your terms. But then again, that's what I hope that no one ever goes through that. And that was a huge struggle. And
so how How do you feel like that's affected you in later life? What kind of lessons have you taught, good or bad?
So the lessons that it's probably given me is like, hey, listen, man, like tomorrow's never promised.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is truly never ever promised. Like I've had so many close calls, it's crazy. I mean, but back in those days, there was no like lactose intolerant or allergies because I used to live in a village. I mean, you just got on with life. If problems and challenges presented themselves with you and your family, you just got on with it. And I suppose in more luxury, you got more time to think and you got more time to dwell on, well, what is my purpose? Because if you are struggling going through survival, then your purpose is survival.
Yeah.
Because you have nothing else to think about. You got to put food on the table. You got to make sure you got to fix a leaking house. You're out there in the villages. You got to milk your cows. You got to do the farming work.
It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
You're really focused on that inner nucleus because that is way more important
Yeah.
rather than the self-actualization where I need to be my own person.
Yeah, my own
and-
identity, my own subgroup and subcontext.
Yeah.
No, you just live in and you find your way, and then you focus more on the core emotional values of family and love and you appreciate the small little things. If you don't really enjoy the day-to-day things, such as a hot coffee in the morning or a sunshine or a sunset, and you know this because I love to take photos of sunsets and post in my story because it means another day's gone by and you've been through it.
I love that, bro. I love it. And it's funny because you go to poor countries, like I've even gone to Jamaica, and at some point Jamaica can be seen as a third world country.
Yeah.
And you see poor people, but you see so many happy poor people.
So many happy poor people.
So many happy poor
Smiles
people.
on their faces,
and then you
man.
go to the UK, US, you see so many depressed rich people, and you're like, wow, how does that work? People like come up with these stupid comments. I'd rather be, crying in a Bentley or crying in a Ferrari. It doesn't matter. Like your happiness is so much dictated by
Materialistic
what you make
things.
around you.
Yeah, well, exactly. But a lot of people dictate their happiness in the West around materialistic things because that's the by design of capitalism, and
Yes.
can go down that rabbit hole of communism, socialism, capitalism, and that's a lot to speak on if people are not aware of. That's something you gotta do research on your own. But yeah, like I remember being in jobs when my direct line report would have a 40 grand watch, earning 25 bags a month, and this guy being in the office from first thing in the morning to last thing at night, and to give himself pickups, it wouldn't be coffee they was drinking during lunch. He'd be going out there to the toilets, having lines of coke. I'm like, well, what is this fallacy of happiness? Because this guy is speaking to a therapist. His marriage isn't going that well.
Yeah.
He's going to strip clubs all the time. But then he's trying to sell me
get
this
high.
idea and dream of his rented 200 grand car. And I'm like, why is this car even on finance? Sure, isn't this happiness? And that's what I suppose really set me down to one of my first mentally depressive episodes. Ironic that it was that set me through that, not the troubles I went through back home growing up in a civil war. Because I realized, well, what is life then? What am I supposed to be doing? Because this guy ain't happy. Life keeps telling me that I need a fancy car, a 4 grand watch, I need this and that, but this guy ain't happy. I'm working for him. Like, he's telling me all these lies about trying to get the numbers in and hit the marks and hit the figures, but then again, he's not happy, so huh? And then when I did go back home at that point in time, which is back in 2016, 2017, because I had my family spread out, because obviously, because all the atrocities and what was happening. And then I saw poor people living in shacks and sheds. Some of the happiest people ever. I'm like, what? I'm not...
Do you know what it is? It's about like how much I think we don't realise as people, because we're so used to it now, how much we take in things like social media. How it's the people that you surround yourself with as well. When you're constantly hearing like all your mates are, oh, what you doing with your job? What you doing with your job? Oh, I think you need to do something else now, mate. That really starts to get to you, especially as men, I think as well, because we
you're
know
supposed
so
to be
much of our
providers.
value.
Yeah.
It's dictated by how much money you earn and what job that you have. It's like, the argument, even like some women could like look down on a plumber although he's earning 100k. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they do.
Like,
Yeah.
so,
And
like,
that's a struggle.
those are two big things that are causing a lot of societal pressure, which obviously, unfortunately, is causing a lot of suicide.
Suicide and
yeah. But it is a lot. It is a lot about what you are constantly watching, what you're constantly
Feeding yourself.
fitting into your brain.
You are what you consume, honestly,
Yeah,
mentally, you are what
100%.
you consume. And the reason why scientifically, as I've done this in my masters, we think negatively 7 seconds out of the 10 seconds each and every single cycle is because of what you consume. Everything in terms of legacy media, social media, any form of media is negative, because through negativity you can control populace a lot better than through positivity. Hence why the governments, and not to go down that deep rabbit hole, hence why the public wants a docile. The government wants a docile public and not healthy, free thinking public. Why?
But do you know what? I've got a slight point on that. Is that the government's fault or is that people's fault? Because I generally think, to some extent, people got to wake up and smell the coffee. If you're just gonna choose, because no one's forcing you to watch the news every single night.
Of course.
If you're gonna choose to watch a biased network, that's on you.
Yeah, I think it's set by design through the government and the powers that be and the cogs and the wheels. But we as people don't help ourselves because we are very efficient that once you find a cozy method of doing things, you're going to stick to that coziness because inherently we are greedy and lazy.
Yeah.
And that's further pushed, and that is further pushed by luxuries.
That's why people have stereotypes.
Yeah.
And biases and whatnot, because it's so much easier to create a stereotype about something and just think a certain type of way. You've been at work all day, you don't want to think. When you're watching something on the TV, you just jump to a bias or a stereotype in your head because it's way harder to think outside the box.
It's harder to think critically
and to create a new picture. When I heard that, I learned that in psychology. I was just thought that is so interesting. Like a racist stereotype, for example.
Like
it's so easy just to jump to that.
Chicken watermelon. Hypothetically, America, when people talk about people from America and all the rest, Eastern Europeans, hello, my friend, my sister,
Borat,
right? And I get a lot of these stereotypes, and I understand it because once you understand why people don't have what they have, because through the lack of critical thinking, through the lack of their own life experiences and what life has presented themselves, then you understand that. Well, it gives you peace because it's not even a case of that they choose to be that way, but rather they have been designed.
I'm so glad you said this, and I feel like we're going way far ahead. I'm gonna bring it back in soon, but so I did a podcast with a girl. She's come on my podcast before, sick episode as always. However, I asked her, and it's like a massive social media sensation at the moment. If you could be trapped in the woods, with an unhinged bear.
Yeah.
A man that you didn't know, what would you pick? And she was like, I'd pick the bear every time.
I saw that clip.
I said, that's absolutely ridiculous. And all of her friends were like getting onto her about me, like, oh, he didn't let you speak, he didn't do this. And she was like, you're just being passionate. And you've only just seen a clip. And like, it's because I know her and I get on with her. So I was genuinely shocked by her answer. Yeah. And I just think it's completely illogical because she was saying, like, I think 6 to 8% of men would maybe attack me in the UK. I'm like, okay, 6 to 8%. She's like, well, men could do worse. And she was like, if you don't know what it's like from a female experience. I'm like, yeah, I get that. But I do sympathise because I've been with women that have been in those situations. However, if you have a 92 to 94% chance with a man in your own head, then a unhinged bear who will kill you at some point will strip you from head to toe.
But okay, so let's bring it down to common sense.
But it's critical thinking.
It's critical thinking. So
and it's a feminist ideology of men against women. We don't need men anymore. Men are just good for this, for that. Focus on your bag, focus on the family later, then unfortunately sometimes it's too late. I think there's a lot of that. And then obviously I'm not going to deny there's not creepy incidents with guys and stuff like that happen as well. But it's led to this whole thing of like, men are way worse. But I think that's just because, again, we're in this mummy-coddled society where not really that much deep happens. Like, catcalling, for example.
Yeah.
Not right?
It's not right, don't agree with you.
Men and women get catcalled. So she made a really good point. She was like 97% of women between 18 to 24 have been sexually harassed. I was like, that includes catcalling. And catcalling, I wouldn't really call it harassment as such. You can class it as, but I'm saying it kind of lowers down the degree of what sexual harassment on the front of it sounds like.
Well, and also it depends on who is the perpetrator of the catcall. And this is the problem, right? Because if you have a rich, handsome millionaire giving you a whistle or look, you are not going to think that the person's a nasty man is being rude. You're actually going to be thinking, actually, this guy could be my future husband. If you have a pot-bellied, bearded guy with missing teeth, you're going to think, well, that's harassment. So therefore,
I said this to a girl that I've been talking to. I was like, yeah, but the problem is, let's be honest. If you're catcalled by someone you're attracted to, would you mind? They all said, no. Of course not.
No.
If it's an attractive guy,
it's context.
It's completely calm. When it's the ugly guy that you don't find attractive, then it's the creepiest thing and the worst thing in the world.
But it's context thing. So let's take it back to the bear and the man and the wolves, right? Let's talk about critical thinking. Now, when women say that 2 to 5%, what was the statistic that she used? 2 to 5%.
She just made it.
I said, okay, statistics.
It's not a real one.
You know what's a great statistic? So therefore,
6 to 8.
If you're talking about women being done bad by men and what's the second word? Homicide. If you look at the homicide rates in the whole of England, for women which is majority caused by men, is something I think statistically speaking around 400-500 women at a specific point in time for that particular year. Men's homicide rates is 3 times that. So me as a man, I know what women go through in regards to mean, nasty, vile men that do not deserve to be around. But we are also as good men fighting against those men. Because people seem to think that men are our enemy. No, men are our enemy as well. When they go out and about for job interviews.
Yeah, but so this is a good point, because I said this. I said, you do realise that men get attacked way more than women. She was shocked and she was like, yeah, but it's by men. So she was like, so we're all scared of men. I was like, no, we're not all scared of men. But we're acknowledging that there's bad men in the world.
There's bad men. Yeah.
Bad women in the world. There's bad men in the world. But men's issues a lot of the time get swept under the carpet. Yeah, like we're 3 times as much, but it gets swept under.
Yeah.
Men are 3 times the suicide rate, but it gets swept under.
But the thing is that, so when women say, "Oh, men," I get it, because we are against these same men as well. Yeah. I'll preach and shout about female equality, and I will do so much for my mother. I would sacrifice so much. I would basically end my life for my mother. So no one could tell me that men ain't this and men ain't that, because when it comes to fighting off against these few evil men, it's usually men that step up to the plate and try and protect you and fight for you. Exactly. So this whole non-nuansical argument of the bear, if the bear, let's say, was taught by you, and then you try to teach that bear life skills, if you had that bear in the woods, the bear wouldn't know how to fish. Let's take this contextually, the bear wouldn't know how to fish.
But it's irrelevant, isn't it? Because if you're a bear trainer, then I'd say fair enough, pick the bear. But no one's a bear trainer.
No one's a bear. So it's unhinged. It's very unhinged.
And I said, do you know what the first thing is? If you were actually paired in that situation, you would 100% pick the man. You'd 100% pick the man. If you're actually there, life and death, you're going to pick the man.
And the thing is, the only reason why the argument was brought up to cause further division. And that's all it is. And even then, when a lot of these homicides, a lot of these attacks, a lot of these things happen for women, it's actually not strangers. It's people that they know.
Yeah, I know.
Which is the craziest thing. I'm not, wow. Do you mean it could be your best friend, it could be your boyfriend's brother or this or that, and that's the scariest thing about it. It's just almost a case.
I feel like a lot of these issues and stuff like that, it's a shame, because I love talking about societal issues, things that affect men, things that affect women, things that affect black people, and I don't get touched if I always say this, I don't get touched if, and I said this on our podcast when you did it with me and Josh, I don't get annoyed if you said, oh yeah, statistically it's more likely that a black man's going to be in prison than a white man.
Yeah, but
there's a much higher chance, especially by percentage population. But if you say something against women, oh my gosh, like one of her friends apparently said, she was like, oh, it's so funny. One of my friends said it's giving an insult. I'm like, bruv, what part of me looks like or sounds like an insult? And I'm like, I don't ever want to ever be that. I never ever want to play. Let me just say one thing. I never ever want to be that arrogant guy. Like, I don't ever try to make it by myself. But stuff like that, I'm just like. But even it's you're just so emotionally touched. You're not even thinking.
But that's the thing, right? When people do feel that passionate, emotional, and even when people talk about incels and these subgroups of men, it's that those of men that have been let down by society and are being manipulated by these toxic red pill podcasts, which we'll get into later on. And manipulated
we're going to be talking about the guys and where the guys go wrong as well.
Yeah, we are. And these men get manipulated by the Andrew Tates and the social marketeers and the engineers, and it happens. And it's unfortunate. So rather than talk about these small subgroups of men as they're the enemy, actually now these are disenfranchised young men that have lost their way, that haven't had any sort of legacy media to look up to actually be men. Imagine growing up as a man up to the 1980s, 1990s, being told to constantly put your big boy boots on, you can't cry, you can't do this, you can't do that. I lived in one of the roughest areas of Birmingham when I came over to England. I used to get beaten up, I used to get spat at, I used to get rushed.
Let's talk about that, because I wanted to get on to fleeing to the UK.
Yeah.
So did you... 2 questions. Yeah. Did you have any good memories growing up in Yugoslavia?
Yes.
And 2, did you have any challenges fleeing?
Some of the happiest memories I've ever had, man, have been when I was a child. Making paper airplanes with my dad, and the winner would get the grapes behind us. And that's such a core value, memorable moment for me. In the sunshine, something basic. We're both making paper airplanes. We're both making bows and arrows. He's there taking me to climb trees. Or when I've done something bad in school to my friends, and I deserved an ass whooping. I deserved some discipline. I will try and up that fig tree trying to escape. Niggas be chasing me with slippers and a rolling pin. And
rolling pin?
Yeah, discipline. But some of those memories right there are some of the happiest memories I've ever had, because he taught me resilience and he taught me that there's repercussions when I do something wrong. But he also taught me love through the most basics. basic of elements.
I always say the best. I said like one thing I never resent my parents for. My dad's never ever hit me. My mum has. It only happened like just over a handful of times.
And
Like,
even
having
then
a slap on the bum, only a slap. I didn't get no rolling pin.
But
having a
even
slap
then-
on the bum, it taught me discipline. That's why I never disrespect my parents. I never speak ill of them. I've gone
Never.
to people's houses that I've dated or whatever. They're speaking crazily to their parents. I'm like,
No, never,
and you
man.
see all these kids now because obviously it's become so soft. Just
Yeah.
acting wild. It's like, what do you expect? You need a little bit of discipline.
You need discipline, man. Plus, and the thing, you know what it was though, Nate, as a child, because I think I'm probably undiagnosed ADHD. Oh, you shouldn't do that, Duka, undiagnosis and all the rest. No, because as a child, I'm so hyperactive and I start fires and I get to these things and cross bridges that are
makes
half
sense,
crumbling. I get these AK-47 assault rifle bullets and throw them into fires. I start house fires. Like, man, I was a child that's full of energy. Full of energy, and that discipline was very necessary for me because had it not been for my parents or that discipline, and I had this level of energy back home and even now in England, being involved around gangs, being involved around bad areas and tough areas, I would have probably gone to prison if it was for my parents' guidance. Shout out to my mom and shout out to my dad because people don't know that. People know me as the nice, caring, kind guy, which I am to the right people. But like when you do move to a tough area in Brum and you've got that past trauma of going through a civil war up to the age of 10 and up to the age of 16 you don't have your British passport, so you get bullied, spat, kicked and
So
rushed.
what's this all about getting spat, kicked?
Because what kids don't know, they see you as a refugee coming over to school, you can't even speak the language and you
So
feel
what,
different.
was this kind of like an all-white school? Is this mixed?
Racially, it was mixed. It was racially
Who
pushed.
picking you?
Bullies.
Everyone.
Yeah, bullies everywhere because I couldn't retaliate. And usually what bullies would do, they'll pick on someone that can't retaliate. I couldn't retaliate because my grades at school were so dependent on us getting our British citizenship. So for 6 years, I go into school, rushed, beat and spat, and I walk back home from school, not even catch the public bus to toughen myself up so I wouldn't break down in front of my parents. At the age of 16, when he got our British papers, and shout out to Tony Blair because it was his amnesty for families actually contributing to British society and culture that gave us those papers, right? So shout out to Tony Blair. Everything changed.
I feel like a lot of people change and stop taking crap at 16.
And not only that, but I started going gym. I got my demeanor back. People understood. Alright, well, I ain't got to worry about mums or dads sacrificing everything and being deported. I ain't got to worry about all those sacrifices happening and getting deported back home to what we don't have. And from that point onwards, I suppose that's where life really opened out for me because up to the age of 16 is almost like survival mode. So I couldn't really focus on.
That's awful, man.
You know,
that is depressing.
But that's life though, Nate. And he's toughened me up. And he helped me persevere. And a lot of people don't know this. And I try not to speak about it because how can you relate up to the age of 16 getting bullied and spat for being a refugee? Or going to your primary school. Yeah, or going to school and you can't even speak the language. So you're playing charades with the teacher because you need the piss. But you're trying to deal with the trauma back home of what happened in the Civil War. But then little Michael, little Timmy over there is crying because they didn't get a PlayStation. Or walking home from school, which would usually take me 3 buses to get to school. I'd walk home for 2 hours to try to toughen myself up with my big boy boots on so I wouldn't cry in front of my parents because they was going through struggles. And I speak about this passionately. So when people do talk about, well, depression, this, anxiety, that, I get it. Life is hard. But as much as that struggle existed, I'm glad it happened. And had I had the choice again to do it all over again, I would. Because it made me the man that I am today.
Fair play, bro.
And I suppose the negativity out of that, I couldn't have the normal experiences growing up as a child. I couldn't go to the birthday parties, the relationships, liking girls and fancying girls, because all it was about survival, trying to educate myself, keep up with the language and the nuances of sarcasm, wit, humour, because it's very hard. I think to really understand all those complexities of the English language and the culture, you need to have lived there for at least 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's only
banter.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You say you're right, girl. But up to the age of 16, you was survival mode. At the age of 16 to 21, I kind of grew into my skin. That's when I started leaning out, going gym, became a bit more handsome. Went to uni, people embraced me.
What happened to the bullies?
Bully, non-existent. Usually the people that tend to bully kids in secondary or primary school are the degenerates of life.
Yeah, they fade out.
Because they fade out not only because they go to prison, bad choices, they're not happy.
Have you seen any of them? Did you ever see any of them?
1 or 2. Yeah. And you know what's the crazy thing? It's like I'm twice the size.
Yeah.
and they're scrawny. But then again, I feel pity, man, because those kids were only that way because of the environment and the habitats they had at home. They had probably ignorant parents. They didn't know any better. Kids are so malleable as creatures that they're not choices through their own will, but rather through what's happening at home, through deprivation, through lack of money, through lack of funding, because everything is so nuanced that way as well. And as a kid, I kind of half understood that.
So, yeah, but obviously you went through a much tougher experience. So why do you think you've had better life outcomes coming from a much worse background? I know you probably touched on this, but just a condensed small answer, than the kids that, might have struggled a little bit financially in the UK, but you've grown up in the UK, you've grown up in a first world country, probably always had pretty much food on the dinner table and not.
I think it's because of like once it's something inside of you. Once you have that survival mode inside of you, and like you grew up in it, you grew up with it, and then there's no other way, because there's no plan B. There isn't a case of not this, not that, because up to the age of 16, like I said, it's pure survival.
I'd say it's the discipline that your mum and dad taught you.
Yes, that too, which is that as well. Because had they not been like that, had they not made the sacrifice that they did and show me the utmost love and the utmost sacrifices that they went through in making sure I had my needs taken care of, the most basic of needs, then I wouldn't be here. Because had I had all that anger channeled the wrong way, going through all that stuff, a lot of people would have tapped out mentally, would have done atrocities mentally, and would have done stuff and got caught up in the wrong situations and so on and so forth. And I got a glimpse of that after the age of 16 because I had almost like a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
But then I realized that no, my parents have sacrificed way too much at the age of 18, 19 to kind of take a step away from it, because I was about my college years.
Did you ever, because I can relate a little bit, like, there's a couple of things in school I didn't agree with. Did you ever have, like, obviously similar as well, going to the gym, you get to that age, you're like, I'm not just gonna have this anymore. Going to the gym, you get hench and whatnot. Yep. Did you ever have like a fight stage where you were getting into a few scraps?
I feel like a lot of
us. I feel like a lot of young men
stuck it on people.
And you're like, all right, now it's time. Anyone that tries to chat crap, then
I stuck it on people. When I say I stuck it on people, that was from the age of 16 to the age of 19.
Okay.
And when I mean I stuck in people, but even in uni, first and second year uni, because I was known as a gym bro. It was all about the aesthetics, the shreds, the abs, and all the rest of it. You had the rugby bros, the football bros, the hockey bros, and usually what tends to happen is that stereotypically middle class white boys, again, this is a very blanket statement, tend to do sports such as rugby. And I used to see bullying behaviour of the rugby lot picking on the football lot and the hockey lot and all these other sort of groups of people in uni, and when I'd see that, I would stick it onto people. And because people saw my work ethic in the gym and constantly being there, regardless if I was hungover or not, regardless of what I was going through, people respected that. So when I stuck it on people, people backed off, because usually bullies do not pick on people that are strong mentally.
Yeah, I agree with that. I got into a fight with flipping some of the rugby team. I always usually have got on with the rugby boys.
But it's one or two.
Pushed in front of me and just like tried to go like that to me. Grabbed him with a full Nelson, and it was me and my boy, and there was like 10 of them there, and I'm not even saying, like, probably 8 to 10. So I'm flipping, throwing in like jabs, and I'm just there like with these friends, just like, but you gotta love a scrap. I've got so many like, and bear in mind, I'm not a fighter in it. Like, I'm really not a fighter. I've probably been in like under 10 fights my whole life, but most of it was in those like second to third year uni stages.
Yeah.
And like, they are some just good memories in it.
But I think
nothing went too out of hand or crazy. No knives.
You know what?
A little bit of fisticuffs.
Yeah, it's just fine. You know what? And afterwards, you can shake on it because you're impressionable young adults and you're impressionable young kids. And I think genuinely as a man, I don't care if people.
No one wants to kill anybody.
No one. But as a man,
you're standing up for yourself.
Yeah, but as a man, right? And again, people are gonna think, "Oh, Duka, how can you say that? That's so toxic masculine." But as a man, I think you need to go through an ass whooping here or there.
Of course. We're built different. This is what I hate about them trying to feminize men. Like, I know all my idols growing up were like Rio Ferdinand, David Hay, all like pretty good looking lads, good with girls, confident, athletes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my dad's like got a bit of like the gift of the gab. Like, I'm not gonna idolize like a feminine guy. That's just like not me.
Yeah.
But they're trying to do that. Like, oh, we don't like this bullshit kind of like over exuberant type of guy. Da, da, da. It's like you're trying to silence people like that have their own mind.
Yeah.
But then, all the good looking girls are attracted to those guys.
Yeah.
So there's so many contradictions going on.
But and that's it. You will have those contradictions. But like I said, the thing that draws people to people is when they go again. I'll probably use this phrase loads of times: trials and tribulations. Because if you got the canvas of life and you have gone through fights and you have gone through growth and you have gone through all these different challenges, then people are going to naturally be drawn to you a lot more because you have interest about you.
And you have to fight.
Yeah, and as a man, if you, for example, you've been to a scrap and you got your ass whooped, it's probably taught you a valuable life lesson,
100%.
right? Because you probably did something wrong, or you probably came across against the wrong person or the wrong crowds of people, so it teaches you a bit of wisdom. Yeah. Like this person beat me up because he thought X or Y Z about me.
And when you're the one that hands out the arms whooping, you're like, right, I know what I can do with these hands.
Yeah.
Like, it's all good, it's all good. And if you're a same person, you don't really want to get into the situation.
No, use it for the
verbally, but you know, if it has to get to that, I feel like I'm equipped enough.
Yeah, and again, that's an arena of self-defense.
Yeah.
So I think you need to go through a few of those challenges and scraps and beings as a man.
And let me ask you a question, just because we need to get past this. The title we got, just open up that. How did you find it, right? Because you've mentioned like being a bit of an outsider and whatnot, and you got bullied, spat at, kicked at, disgusting. I can't imagine anything worse than being spat at. How was it being the same race as, you know, the majority of people in this country, 75% pretty much white, but being a different ethnicity?
This is the thing, right? Like, so when you talk about classes of race, I'm Caucasian, but I'm not white.
That's my point, yeah.
Right? So during winter, I'll turn so fair skin is crazy. If I shake my way a certain hair and I comb the hair a certain way and straighten my hair a certain way and took off my beard and all the rest with a bit of an accent, I can just about half get away, but I seems English, right? But when the summer comes around and the hair starts growing, the curls start curling and the beard and all the rest of it, that's when it become a bit more sort of foreign looking. So it's really weird because I've been in a situation where I can mingle it in with, you know, quote unquote white people, right? I've also been able to experience stuff behind closed doors that they wouldn't necessarily say to ethnic minorities. I myself, ladies and gents, I'm an ethnic minority. I'm usually the token white boy in my social group's worth of friends. Why? Because a lot of the challenges I've had growing up and the difficulties, I can relate. I can relate to the ass whoopings. I can relate to shacks. I can relate to stuff going bad. I can relate to the ignorance of, well, you're not lactose intolerant and this and that. I can relate to people not understanding what mental health problems are. Oh, he's just the crazy guy down the road.
Yeah.
Because I can't relate to call up social services.
What am I doing there?
Yeah.
Crazy man.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I have to laugh, and I can relate to all of it. Whereas in England, a lot of people, if their parents smack them or discipline them, they call social services. I can't. Who am I going to call social services to? Fair enough. There's this ass whooping that I got right now might not exactly be well deserved for my dad, but this guy sacrificed himself 10, 20 times over for my betterment.
You know what it is? This is why I love being in the mental health space, having the kind of views that I do, because mental health doesn't have to mean like you're this like extremely like soft guy that's like, guys, we just need to cry 24/7. No. If you need to have a little cry by yourself or like open up to your true friends, your trusted group of network. You don't have to just be like super emotional. We can have direct, honest conversations like this.
Yeah, but you know what? And again, I'm glad you mentioned the word emotion, because a lot of people want emotional intelligence, but they're not willing to show that emotional intelligence. And usually what tends to happen, especially in relationships, women are very, very, very prompt on, they love a guy who shows emotional intelligence to be able to pick up the nuances of feelings and emotions the woman's going through. So he's got to pick up the small little tips, hints, the small little signs of the guy getting the girl. But if the guy shows any form of emotion, what's the first thing that the girl's going to do? Well, at least I find in most of my relationships. They're going to run a mile away. Yeah. Because people want emotional intelligence, but they're not.
They don't want the emotion.
Exactly, but they're ill-equipped to show that same emotional intelligence to others.
Yeah.
It's only biased on agenda.
I've heard it from real life experiences. I've heard it from I've seen it, and I've seen it on podcasts as well. Girls even admit, once I saw him cry, or once I saw him lose a fight, even to a professional fighter, then I was just not interested anymore.
But they want emotional intelligence. But they want emotional intelligence from the man to pick
That's
up.
What I said, and this is why I said on podcasts. I went on Just Belly Things, and I went on Sinners podcast. I said, guys, it's not even worth opening up to a girl. until you're like further down the line, maybe even married, always try and open up to your trusted group of network. Open up to your boys. Open up to your boys who actually will have the time to care. Or open up to a coach or open up to a therapist. Don't open up to your girl because
but
those
you know
words will be used against you when they want to see a bit of an emotion. And the moment that happens, or the moment that you close a man down, and I've seen this through my own eyes, they ain't gonna open up again.
But
they're gonna shut down.
They're gonna shut down. And this is the thing. The problem is that when they say don't open up to a girl, most people are not in true valid relationships. Most people, when they do see a girl, they're just in the stages of courting. So a lot of people get the whole idea confused of like not opening up to you. Go, bro, she was never your girl at that point in time because they haven't gone through enough emotional experiences and challenges with one another to be able to pass it on to the stage of relationship. So most people out there, if you got a boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't think you guys are truly in a relationship. Because most people are dating to break up, not to marry. Which one of you people right now, right, are dating one another? If you're watching this reel next to your hobby, next to your missus, are you guys really dating to marry? Are you now? Of course you're not. Because the statistic dictates and states that you have to go through 3 heartbreaks, major heartbreaks, before you find the one. And even then, 10 years down the line, after marriage, is a 50-50 chance of divorce. So this whole question of don't open up to your girl, no, first of all, go through the trials and tribulations to make them your girl, that person your man. Because a lot of people just, I spoke to her and instantly, like, we slid up each other's DMs, in it. Like, yeah, we're dating for 6 months, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. No, you're not. You haven't been through enough life experiences and challenges with one another to find out about one another because you don't even know enough about yourself. What do you like? What's your hobby? I'll go home, sit down and watch EastEnders. So what? Find out more about yourself. Find what makes you tick. Find what makes you happy, angry, sad. Because a lot of people chase these off-tangent emotions of like just happiness. Chase happy. No, man. There's plethora of emotions.
You're right.
Harry, I went off on a tangent there.
That's alright. I love it. I love the passion. We'll go back into that kind of stuff anyway. Right, talk to me about stripping and any crazy stories. How did you get involved in stripping? What happened? Wagwan.
Okay. So back in uni, as I grew into myself and I became this guy that, you know, was not bad looking, I got in really good shape. I used to do graphic design and illustration in uni, and one of my classmates at that point in time, he's Remy, he shows photography. So he started doing photo events. Exactly, he's doing free shoots and photo events for this stripping company. And he said to me, well, Duka, you seem like you're a guy that's in shape, innit? I'm out there on a hangover after night out. I just went to the gym, I had my stringer vest on, cheeks popping, chiseled everywhere, owning that, walking around cocksure. And he approached me as I was walking past him, like, why don't you just give them a hit? Give them a message, send them a couple of photos. I think you're better looking at the guys that are probably doing that stuff right now. Why not? And before you knew it, man, like us there doing topless hosting, passing out champagne, being around hundreds
of above.
Yes, being around hundreds of people, hundreds of women, and they just obviously naturally, you know, that boosts your confidence.
Yeah, of course. But what took you? So I've done butlers in the bar.
Yep.
I even tried to start an events company in Ibiza, but I was too busy with my other job, ticket selling, and I still did all right. But the other job that I had was way more lucrative, so I shut it down. But yeah, I've done butler in the bar shifts, and yeah, it's funny, it's fun, get paid decently well. But I can never ever be a stripper, bro. But what pushed you to that point? What made you go up the scale to strip?
The thing is, like, I suppose it's fully embracing one's insecurities.
No, because I'm not.
For me
personally. For you.
For me,
okay.
For me, it was fully embracing one's own insecurities about body image problems, whether it be height, and usually for men, whether it be penis size, or for women, whether it be breast size. And it's not like I have issues or problems with those, because you hear these sound bites. Yeah, no. So you hear these sound bites on social media of like small dick man. Have you had those negative connotations of like, if you hear something bad a man does, small dick man, I'm like, why is it that people shame men about their genitalia if something bad happens to you meet an arsehole man, but you can't use the same point as say small titted woman or large woman when they do something negative.
Large woman, yeah.
Woo, so the thing is that when I was going for the stage of going gym and trying to perfect my body and trying to make myself better, I thought that as a next challenge in truly mastering my own insecurities. I can really have 10 insecurities about myself right now. I'm fully comfortable with them. I got big ass ears. If I didn't have my hair, and I got a really weird head shape. I got smaller disproportionately arms in comparison to my torso and legs. But I don't care. Those are the nuances of I know what I can control. I know what I can't control. God made me the way He did if He exists. Shout out to you, my God. Right? I accept
Yeah, I
it.
do.
And by me going on stage, it's me fully opening it out, embracing that, because
Really?
I've been through so many other shows.
Did you have your cock out?
Yeah.
Do you know what's so funny? You made a really good point there, yeah, like about that. You know how I was saying that girl was like, oh, my girl said that you sound like an incel, or like it's giving incel, which I hate because it's like learn how to use the English language. It's giving. Like that just shows TikTok behavior.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Going through
it's
my.
the same. I said, I'm surprised you didn't call me gay. I'm surprised you didn't say that I have a small willy. Like all these stupid things.
Yeah,
that people
terminology,
just wanna
man.
chuck out, you know?
All the time, and I get it. And
It's lazy. It's lazy.
No, it's not lazy, but it's trying to attack you in
Personally
to get a response. Because I get that.
Personally.
When after shows and finish my show and some women want photos and some women get really drunk. So a lot of them will say, "Wow, you got a small dick anyway." Oh yeah, you must be gay or this or that. You're not even all that.
Why do you think women are always? When I watch podcasts, women are always the first to go personal.
You know why it is, man? Because I think maybe it could be due to the lack of father figures in their lives. Maybe it could be due to the lack of family values within for them growing up. You just don't know.
Do you know what it is? I think it is. I think it is. There's just no repercussions. Men against men, right?
Oh, yeah,
we know we're not gonna cuss each other out on the podcast. We know it could be a scrap, and we just know to hold a higher level of respect.
Yeah.
And courtesy.
Yeah, because you have gone through those beings, and you have been checked, and you have gone through those challenges as a kid.
Women just say whatever, because they're just like, no one's going to hold them back. Women aren't going to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And then men, it looks bad. It looks bad if you're a man talking a certain way.
Or even if some men get hit personally, I'm on the stance that if I was to get hit and my life's not in danger, I ain't gonna challenge you as a woman, man. I'm just gonna try and hold you, push you away, and just take 2 steps that will start jogging. 100%. You know what I mean? But then
do you know where I think a lot of that comes from? Like for me,
yeah.
Thankfully, I've never seen my dad ever hit my mum. So like, I've seen them have arguments, not much, but my dad's always kept it chill.
Yeah.
And I respect that. So I've now taken that in. But I thought, do you know what? I've been in situations. I've been in one slightly toxic relationship, and it's sort of like if I had seen my dad abusing my mum. Then you would probably switch into that.
Yeah, that would be your revert default value.
And it's one of those really awkward ones because it's like, does that make you a bad person? It does, but it's what you be. Ugh.
So that's the thing. That's the thing. The context of
if you're getting hit. By the way,
so
but it does make you a bad person. You can't do that. Like you should know not to do that. But people rely on what they've seen.
And which it comes down to how have people been shaped through their life experiences and what they've gone through, and their parents and the socio-economical backgrounds of being working class versus middle class, and there's a lot of these nuances, right, where you've been shaped by society, not because people are inherently evil, but people have been shaped to stick to what they know. People love familiarity and chaos. You could be a 6'5" guy, you could have an amazing car, you could have all these amazing things about you. But if a woman's going through a very chaotic childhood and adulthood, then that's what they're familiar with. So they're always going to stick to that. Hence why when people are in these abusive relationships, people find it a struggle to come out of them because it's familiarity and chaos.
Familiarity, what they say, it shows that he loves me.
Yeah,
even guys. I've heard guys say that about girls, like, oh, it's alright, like that's just her way of showing her frustration.
Which isn't because it's familiarity and chaos, and you only know what you know. And when something presents itself that you don't know because you're not familiar with, you find it weird. Because how do you channel through those emotions of receiving love and all that? It's very complex, you know, and it's very easy to go off tangent of those nuancing complexes of relationships and life and growing up and past backgrounds, and it's complex, man.
Talk to me about stripping stories. Have you got any crazy stripping stories?
Oh man, what I've realised is that women are as just bad as men when it comes to cheating, but they're better at hiding it. So I've seen people perform on stage. I've seen mothers. I've seen daughters. I've seen people with rings around their fingers performing fellatio, and their husbands picking them up after the show.
Oh, numerous times.
Yeah, man, a few times, and I was lucky enough that obviously as part of that world, because some of the lads that do because they come from poor backgrounds and it's quick fast money, and a lot of good kind-hearted people are a part of that industry. And I was lucky enough that for majority of me being a stripper, I was in relationships, so I didn't really partake in those nuances because all I was focused on was I'm doing my masters, I gotta get to my second job, third job, I gotta see my missus. But from what I saw, from what I saw. And again, at the very beginning, I had my promiscuous spell when I first started the role, right? So you can imagine that.
You got in there as well.
I had my fun, right? But in saying that,
married women.
a gentleman kisses but he doesn't tie.
Okay.
But I've seen a lot happen. I suppose it's made me lose faith.
Yeah.
It's made me lose faith, and because how can you see people do these things with people and then go home to their husband or go home to their wife? And you know what it's like. And ladies, I understand that what I'm saying right now might be a very hard pill to swallow. But it happens a lot more frequent than people give you credit for. It's just that we're in a better hiding.
People just love to lie in it. People are like, nah, why? Like, if you say a point like this, it's attacking women. It's not attacking women.
It's not attacking women.
Just saying what you see.
Because men are instigating that same part of vicious cycle. It takes two to tango. So it's not a case of, you're a bad woman. No, you're not. Probably not.
Just saying what you've seen.
Yeah.
And you don't date guys.
Yeah.
As well. You know what your boys have done. You know what you've done outside of that.
Men are arseholes. Men are arseholes, man.
Yeah.
Like I say this, and again, please, this is a very blanket statement. I say men are dogs, women are the devil's creatures, because they're all like they're both like guilty of the same vicious cycle and circle.
And I've seen some mad. I've had a girl that was on a Hindu woman, let's say, invite me to like Ibiza rocks, lips me on the beach, invite me to be Ibiza rocks. And I was speaking to my best mate about it, and he was just like, bro, married women, I just wouldn't go there, and I didn't. Fair play to me.
No.
Shout out me.
Yeah,
and she was clean. But anyway, moving on. But like, yeah, I've seen girls with boyfriends doing madness. It's crazy. And the thing is like, when you talk about some of this dating stuff, and we'll go into Fresh and Fit and stuff like that later. Actually, should we just address it now?
Yeah, let's address it now.
See, this is why I think podcasts like Fresh and Fit are actually good. I know you're going to disagree. Listen to me. Because and this is why I kind of again wanted to get into the coaching space, because I know I'm completely unique than anybody else that's in this men's mental health space, right? Because I've been to these promiscuous countries. I've been the lad.
Yeah.
I've been the guy that's gone to the Miamis, Thailands, done my, had a fair amount of fun in the past.
You've been promiscuous.
I've been promiscuous.
You've been a free single man.
I've been a free single man.
And you've experienced your sexuality. And that's what it is. Because you know what? There's negative connotations when people, when I say sexuality.
Hetero.
You're not in that regard, but your heterosexuality, right? No, but hey, listen. Hugh Hefner, in a lot of people's eyes, was considered a hero. But now Diddy doing exactly the same stuff that Hugh Hefner was doing, but now he's a villain. So people gotta understand that when you go through...
We got to be careful with that one, because the Cassie video is crazy.
Yeah, but it is crazy, right? It's crazy. But I'm saying some of the nuances around Diddy, I'm not saying that for whatever he's done wrong, he should be held accountable. Outright.
For being a freak.
But exactly. So it comes down to when you're expressing yourself and saying promiscuous, this or that, it can go about finding your own sexuality and heterosexuality and what you're into in a respectful manner. So when people do clown women for, I suppose, expressing themselves, enjoying themselves, it's like, well, hold up, boys do exactly the same thing, but you treating boys as heroes, but women as not. So I think we gotta be more open-minded in what people do.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot to that, bro. I think there's a lot to that. I think we have to admit that we look for different qualities in each other, right? Women want somebody that is way more experienced. Women like. You ask women if they want to be with a virgin, no. You ask men if they want to be with a virgin. Ideally, that would be amazing if the person you fall in love with is a virgin.
Yeah, I mean,
and you can teach her everything sexually. So we are completely, we can't act like we're the same. We have sex and we can have sex completely unemotionally. That doesn't make us bad people, it just makes us men. We're not as in touch with our emotions like that. Oh, this is something hanging off our body. Women take that and they feel way more emotional when they have sex, and that's just the way it is.
Over a period of time, yeah. But the thing is...
And the only ones that don't are when you hear these OnlyFans girls going mad online, and I know a lot of it's not real, a lot of it's just what they say to get...
Soundbites, clickbaits, yeah.
Which is fair play, earn your bag. But, yeah, they'll act like they're completely detached from sex.
I think...
And that's usually because when I've met like strippers and stuff like that, there's always been crazy stuff that's happened in the past. Not saying that's the same for all these OnlyFans girls now, because a load of them have had fine upbringings and they've just got into that for the bag. Mm-hmm. But like, there's usually something that's not quite right. I think you've lost your feminine touch.
I think with a lot of people, you just that it depends on the past trauma, because a lot of porn stars, because that's what it is. Because OnlyFans has actually a variety of different uses around it, and I've shared some of my experiences with some people that do OnlyFans actually do it in about different ways, like they expect a porn star to do it. Because a lot of these clickbait stuff already gets the headlines. It's about these porn stars that do exactly that do all these things. That do all these things because of the clickbait.
Yeah.
But as society evolves in the West more and more, then women are becoming more like men and vice versa, and they're trying to like muddy the waters, and that's what it really is.
Yeah, but that's what I hate, because it's like men shouldn't have to feel like they need to feminize themselves to be accepted,
and
women shouldn't have to feel like they need to be masculine to like be respected and stuff like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. And if anything, it's only going to deter you a lot of the time. Like, masculine women never get this. I've had conversations with masculine women before. Even people like that are my girl mates, yeah. And I'm like, you don't get why you're single. I was like, I'll tell you why you're single, because guess what? You are doing well financially. You are. But men don't look for these features.
But you know
men
what?
Don't, well, one sec. Yes, men, even me, I like a girl that can contribute. But we don't look for these features initially to like, that's not what we're judging you on. We're judging you on, realistically, let's be honest, how attractive we find you. And loyalty, respect, is she a nice girl? Is she going to be our peace? Things like that. You look for men for some women at status, money, social competence. Is he going to keep me safe? Protector, provider, those kind of things. So we look at things from a complete different end of the totem pole.
I think it comes down to, personally, when it comes to a partner, I look at core values. First of all, the thing that I value most about me as an individual is peace. When I mean peace, because of my past trauma, what I've grown up in, what I've been through, and peace for me is my number one valued thing I look for. Help bring me peace, help bring me calmness. And if you do that, that for me is a core trait. Now, a lot of these women that are quote unquote more masculine and they are very financially driven, they are very sort of career driven, is because they have to fight against these other narcissistic assholes, sociopaths. To the top CEOs of these companies, man, there's narcissistic sociopaths that cheat on their wives and
what does a man not want when he gets back after he's had to fight the world for the day? Is arguments or one of the lads like, what's your figures today? Da, da, da. No, you want your woman to be your peace. And a masculine woman, more times than not, is gonna find it very, very hard to flip that switch when at home.
Yeah, if you're constantly around an environment where you constantly gotta be on the self-defensive, whether it's
one of the boys.
Yeah, whether you are a man or a woman, you're always going to have that self-defense mode on constantly. And in the household, or when I finish work, when I go out and about, or whatever it is, I want to be around peace, man. I hate arguments.
Agreed. I don't know any man that wants that. And that's completely different to a woman having a bit of fire on her belly or not speaking out her own mind. That's how it gets construed. Oh, so you don't want a woman? No, you just don't want a masculine woman who was up. You want
fire, man. You want fire, man. You want passion. You want passion. You want fire. You want passion. You want a drive for life. You want zen. You want all these things. So let's not
sound too contradictory.
Contradictory, right? Yeah. We don't. It's just
you want peace over everything.
Yeah, peace.
If you got a little bit of fire, cool.
Yeah, you need that.
But like peace over fire.
Peace over rage, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, and peace means speak your own mind. You make the decisions. You can make the decisions as well. Like, it's not like a whole it's not a dictatorship.
It's not a dictatorship where man's got to make the decision.
It's just a woman having feminine traits, but that seems to have been taken away from the feminist movement. Anyway, so Fresh and Fit. What I think is very, very good about them is, as someone that has travelled, has seen the promiscuous behaviour of women, and understanding obviously with the dating stats, how skewed dating apps are, how much it is in obviously women's favours than men, how much we are.
You know what it is though? It's skewed to the women. I think it's skewed mostly to the 5% men. That's the problem.
Yeah, there you go. It's skewed to the top 5% men.
And all of us,
and then women across the board. You're good. Because you're always going to find somebody, right?
You are, but in terms of...
But my point is, I think they are really good at just being honest and open about what modern dating is, because a lot of these dating coaches, or even these Professor Galways, or who does Stephen Bartlett have on? What's that guy? And he's got like the stutter. Really famous psychologist.
Oh, I forgot his name.
Cristiano Ronaldo's psychologist.
I know you're on about, yeah.
Yeah, he's literally faces in my head. Anyway, people like him, they can't relate to what it is like dating now. Dating in their day and age is completely different to dating now.
Yeah.
So they can't really speak, especially if they were never those type of guys that were like dating multiple girls and what like that, and get attention like that. They can't talk to what modern dating is like now. They're like, oh,
You know?
well, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just get married to the first girl that you see? And it's like it doesn't work like that anymore.
It doesn't. I think that is very rose tinted glasses view of dating. But the thing is, so there's another psychologist. He's from I forgot his name as well. He's from Canada. His name is
I think we might be on about the same guy.
curly hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
but what I love about him over Fresh and Fit, and what I love about his use, is that if you build yourself on your traits of doing the right things. So my terminology is don't chase butterflies, build a garden. And what I mean by that is that don't trap yourself in this vicious cycle of dating and courtship. Jordan Peterson. Don't put yourself out there in the hopes that you're constantly chasing butterflies, constantly chasing these social media clouds and X, Y, Z. Focus on building the garden, because I guarantee you, over a period of time, the right one will come along.
Yeah, but I think it's important to not be fooled and actually understand some of these statistics. Understand, yes.
Oh, yeah.
If you get married, understand that there is an 80% of a chance that it's going to be the woman that leaves the man. I think it is important to not just have, as you said, rose-tinted glasses. It is important to understand that you can't just go into a relationship with the first girl that likes you. You have to make sure the girl is aroused by you, because when a relationship gets hard, you both need to have that, like, you both need to fancy each other. You hear all these relationships where sex is weaponized against you.
Yeah.
But I'd never ever want to be, or never would even put myself in that situation, because I wouldn't even be with someone that didn't fancy me a lot. As well as all the other things as well. Those things are so important for men to hear. And you're not going to get that unless you listen to a Fresh and Fitty type podcast.
I disagree with that. Because
how are you going to get that? Unless you're a man that has the pick of the bunch, or you've got a friend that has the pick of the bunch. You're not going to get that anywhere.
Okay, I can disagree with I disagree with Fresh and Fit, because they contradict their own sayings. First of all. Secondly, in regards to Jordan Peterson, when he says this whole rose-tinted view of the world and core values and making your bed, I agree with that a lot more, because if you solely focus on that character development and building your own garden, you can't become that superstar that has the money, that has the status. So all this...
But Fresh and Fit says the same thing.
But they contradict
that. You're picking and choosing bits that you don't like, but they do say a lot of that.
But they contradict. They give these AdWords synonyms and syllables and sound bites to paint a rose picture that can use on social media. But behind closed doors, these exact same OnlyFans models and these people that they speak against, they're trying to pay off and use them to date them and vice versa.
Whoa.
Yes.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not
how
fair.
Is it fair?
Because
how can you cook?
One sec. That's not fair, because just because you have OnlyFans girls that they don't pay to come on their show, they know they're gonna make.
But they're using.
They're both using each other. And then just because they might sleep with an OnlyFans girl, that doesn't mean. That doesn't mean that they're going out and dating them.
Let me say this. So where you're wrong, and they're gonna get heat those. They're using OnlyFans models as leverage to get them on their show, and there's multiple proof out there. There's a lot of these red pillars that are great marketeers, but behind closed doors, they're actually contradicting their own actions of the values of what it is to be a man, because they're begging these OnlyFans women and models, well, if you're not gonna with me, you're not gonna get on the show. And there's multiple proofs of that. And that's what I don't agree with.
So the start of this was what I think is good about Fresh and Fit. There's lots of things I think are problematic, but I think that, like, understanding modern dating and just understanding not everything's rosy, like, I think that is good for men, because I don't think you're going to get that in many other places. You will get that on Step Up Unfiltered by much more intelligent, high-level conversation speakers who have actually been in the mud. Anyway, get back to it. I think there's a lot. I don't like the fact, like, I think they go too overboard with the whole, like, Jew stuff, the whole, like, racism.
But they got their own agenda, man. They got their own agenda.
I think Myron goes way too far to the point he kind of looks like sometimes he self-hates himself.
But you know what? But the thing is, that is his own agenda, because that was the easiest and quickest way for him to grift on incels and subgroups of people that don't have a voice to speak on behalf of them.
I genuinely think he thinks that. I genuinely think he thinks how he thinks.
But he's still going to use that. He's still going to use that as leverage, because it wasn't for the fame, it wasn't for the money, it wasn't for the notoriety, it wasn't for that. He wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now.
Facts. But I do think, like, I think he's proved he speaks his own mind. But I think a lot of it, he goes too far. Like, I personally think I've got no interest in being with multiple women. I think women should vote.
But
I
you know what?
I
But
do
he's
think
doing
there's
that.
some
He's
different
doing that because through hate you can leverage a
Of
lot
course,
behind you.
and that's why something like this channel is going to be so hard to grow because, yes, I do talk about the issues of women that sometimes get some women's back up, but I also talk about men's issues, probably more, but it doesn't seem to get the backed up. But because I'm respectful with it, I've never had an argument with anybody on the show or anything like that. It's hard, but the people that create all the controversy, I've even been on a podcast and they're like, you just need to have a proper controversial clip to blow.
You need, and then a
interest in that.
and controversial clips to do that, to get success out of it, you're going to be seeing a subcontext or subgroup of disenfranchised young men who they're going to have hate inside of them anyway. So if they see some of that hate that you are portraying out to the world, they're going to empathize with it. And, they're capitalizing on it. Hence why the whole Andrew Tate
So I was about to say, so do you think Andrew Tate, because I've heard that before, I think Professor Galloway said that Andrew Tate, and I kind of do agree, Andrew Tate was one of the first people to talk on men's issues when nobody else was talking about it. And fair play, kudos to him. But, he did kind of hijack the movement because he used a lot of that. He tapped into a huge sea of young men that had no purpose, were struggling in life. He's showing you, fairly good looking lad, Muay Thai champion, blah, blah, blah. I'm here for you, but then obviously, unfortunately, dials that in with actually misogynist views.
But you know what? But that is modern day Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, again, he's a master manipulator and marketeer. Andrew Tate has taken advantage of these disenfranchised young men because when he first got his millions, which allowed him to have his outspoken views right now, which get these clickbaits, is that he set up a webcam business where he was faking and taking money off lonely young men that are disenfranchised by society. So how can they be speaking about values as a man and call this and call that when you took advantage of these same men you're trying to represent? How despicable of a man are you? And the second thing is that they only became Muslim and Muslim values is when the West started cancelling him. Because him as a master technician, as a manipulator, he knew he'd have backing from the Muslim world once the West was attacking him. For right or for wrong. So this whole Andrew Tate stuff is a master manipulator, marketeer, successful guy, XYZ. He's how people with these kind of rose tinted views and glasses because he's trying to change his character. But understand how he started it all out. He took advantage of disenfranchised young men selling them pipes, hopes and dreams through these webcam channels. So how is he speaking about the empowerment of men right now? Come on, man.
Took advantage of young men's nuts.
Well, there
and
you
then
go.
we're speaking. And then we're speaking.
And then we're speaking.
Do you know what it is, yeah? I've had so many mixed views on Andrew Tate over the years. And I'm not actually going to disagree with anything you've said.
And I respect, I respect that. I respect for the fact that the whole Andrew Tate stuff, I respect that. I'll shake your hand on it. I respect it because
I do think that was a massive media agenda to get him out of here. And
there is.
And look, he got freed the other day.
It did.
So fair play. I don't agree with locking up men just because. Have you seen the Conor McGregor story?
Yeah.
Bro, that is the wildest, most leaky story.
So
the story. I don't want to get excited. Obviously he's got basically a woman accused him of rape. Yeah. And she's bear in mind she's got a husband and child or had a boyfriend and kid at home. Mm-hmm. She's been on a 3-day bender. Yeah. She's messaged McGregor because she knows of him on Instagram in a sexy dress, provocative. Mm-hmm. They've planned to link up. It's him, his McGregor's friend, her and another girl. They've all gone back to a hotel. CCTV of her being all over Conor McGregor. She's in a room with Conor McGregor. They sleep together. Her friend sleeps with Conor McGregor's friend. Then after the alleged rape has happened, Conor McGregor's left. He's left and gone with the other girl. And then he's left his friend and the girl. CCTV again shows her after the rape, supposedly all over the guy. Mm-hmm. She's tried to sleep with his friend. His friend's been like, nah, rejected her a bunch of times. Gone back to the hotel, beat, then they've left. And then she said she doesn't remember any of it. She asked people to delete texts after of what's happened. She then went from not accusing the second guy of rape to then accusing the guy of rape, and then found it got thrown out of criminal court twice, and then it went to a justice court where they just get the money, and then where the level of doubt is a lot lower. Yeah. Right. And then he's got found guilty, but people just listen to guilty, not guilty, and they think, well, that's in the world. But his friend got found not guilty, and then I think the big argument is, she had a tampon all up her and she had some bruises. One, if you're on a 3-day bender, things happen, and two, I know girls that have had tampons in when they've had sex. Like, when they've been drunk and stuff like it's not so against the norm. But, I mean, I'm not trying to say what happened or what not, like, but I feel like what happened, if you're not going to accuse the second guy, but you are the first guy, it's because of his public image. And the way he conducts himself is so poor that people just think in the back of their head, unconscious bias, bam, he must be guilty.
But you know, I think the whole Conor McGregor situation, once you get to the state of notoriety, once you get to the stage of notoriety and wealth and success and money, then any sort of normal action that you previously were, I suppose, I can't even find the word, but any previous like human interactions that you thought like you could do, you can no longer now do. So Conor McGregor at that point down, he was rich, successful, he was famous. So I think he should have been wiser, because you're gonna get people that can take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? And in that situation, you fully truly never know what happened or vice versa. But I'm sure even with that, there might be some other ulterior agenda. Even to the point where I read one of these, I read an article where apparently Conor McGregor is wanting to run for mayor or get into politics.
That's the massive thing. And of Ireland.
Yeah, and then what does that really mean?
And he's like mass deportation of immigrants and
yeah, and that's the thing. So you never truly really know, right? Because once you get to that level of fame, once you have all that money, then people just want a piece of the pie.
I know, but it does seem to be like a very, very get the people that kind of exude these masculine, hyper masculine personalities.
Because they're scared. Because the reason why you usually tend to go for these people, if they're done wrong, lock them up. If they're not, it's because they are a voice for disenfranchised men, and who usually gets sent to war when shit goes down is the young disenfranchised men. He who controls the crowd of populace of young disenfranchised men is someone that controls
the loud, outgoing.
Because who does most of these blue collar jobs?
I'm really glad that we've had that conversation, because I think that's a really good point that I don't think enough podcasts are just speaking openly and honestly about, without going too overboard.
Yeah.
Without being too bum licky of the takes and stuff like that. You're either one way or the other. You're either licking them out and you're acting like they can't do anything wrong,
or you see for what
you just see you're trying to overdo every single thing.
Yeah.
You're trying to literally look for any negative. So yeah, I'm glad that we had that conversation actually. So quick one, because we haven't got too long left, and I want to get into maths. So you've already explained when you get into fitness.
Yeah.
What's your fitness routine? Because I know you get into extremely good, lean shape, quite tall lad as well. What's your tips for the men out here, and what's your diet?
So when it comes to fitness in general, I suppose no matter what training plan you do, upper, lower, bro split, calisthenics, power training, powerlifting, no matter what training style you do, if you do it over a long enough period of time, you're going to see the visual outcomes you so desire.
How long would you say for most
guys
ever been to the gym?
For most guys that have ever been to the gym, within 2 to 3 years, you'll see huge visual changes.
How many times a week?
Ideally, 3 to 5 times a week. More so than 5 times a week.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, which a lot of people do not appreciate or respect, is for the fact that try and stay away from processed foods.
Yeah.
So when it comes to having your supplementation, when it comes to try and stay away from protein shakes as much as you can. Try and stay away from supplementation as much as you can. Your diet should mostly consist of fruit, veg, meat, nuts. Probably the only thing that I eat that's processed during the week is brown bread. Everything else is fruit, chicken, eggs, rice. And on the weekends, I'll probably treat myself to a little takeaway. I understand a lot of people know me as the pie animal, likes to go on the lash, likes to have a couple of pints.
Duka.
Right? People know. Yeah.
I like a pie.
I like a pie. I like a pie, people. But during the week, I think about my sleep hygiene. I try to make sure that I feed my body the right way.
Yeah.
I ingest the right things. I read the right things.
Supplements?
Supplements, probably I'd focus on ZMAs. I'd focus on PCAs. I'd focus on fish oils. I'd focus on
multivits? No?
Not even multivitamins, because most of that should come from your food. It's mostly
you don't get enough.
But if you are about that lifestyle and you want to see those changes and results, you go out your way to get enough.
You take magnesium?
Yes, which is element. Zinc, magnesium, and iron.
I noticed a difference so much. Energy levels in a day.
And creatine as well. A lot of people don't have enough red meat to have creatine. So plant sterols, which help.
Drink?
No.
Really?
Plant sterols. So plant sterols helps with your cholesterol. So I'll worry about more around organ health than it is nutrition that substitute through food.
So how much protein do you reckon you get in your diet a day?
Probably 100, 120.
Oh, so not much.
Not much. I don't even bow down to this whole idea. You need one gram per pound.
Yeah.
No, because that's the fitness industry trying to sell you very cheap protein for loads of money.
Okay, interesting. So you're not fussed about like protein. So you'd say it's just more consistency in the gym.
Yeah.
Eat a lot of the right foods.
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. I'm happy with that because we got a lot to get through to. You guys already know benefits. You heard me talk about it. You heard different people that I've had talk about it. Do you want to just quickly run over your top benefits that you found for the gym?
Oh, top benefits. I suppose it allowed me to sleep at night.
Facts, yeah.
People think, hey, listen, everyone wants to look good before they go to Ibiza. Everyone wants to drop down a couple of dress sizes on their wedding day. Everyone wants to be walking around strutting about with a buff body or nice small waist. People, you're going to get all of that if you consistently go to the gym and follow a steady, fast routine and diet. But what a lot of people don't think about way down the line is peace of mind and being able to sleep and switch off at night. And the most important thing is worry about your knee health, your organ health as you get older. People think they are immortal. People are not aware of their own mortality. And as they get older, into our 50s and 60s, a lot of these chronic issues are going to crop up if you don't have a healthy lifestyle and look after your body.
Do you know, it's so funny, right? So I went to a friend's birthday party yesterday in London. It's so funny because some of the lads in like our uni group, flipping huge animals. Like, when people ever compliment me on my physique, I don't even like think anything of it because I've always had like a big friend. Like we've got Josh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna have.
Like, you're in ridiculous shape, but like there's always a Josh around.
There's always someone with a bigger body. There's always someone around.
There's
always someone bigger. There's always someone better looking. There's always someone more funny.
Yeah, of course.
And you know what? That's life.
That's life. But it was funny, right? Because a lot of the lads have now got into running. Even one of the guys, it's like whose birthday was big, muscly geezer. He's like, I'm 90 kg. He's 81. And he's still hench.
Yeah.
But he's just like so light now.
Yeah.
He's become a runner now. And because I've just started getting into a bit of high rocks training myself twice a week. And we're all just talking about the benefits of running and stuff like that. And
cardiovascular health.
Talking to some of the guys that are still just gym focused. Like, even like I've only just recently started it. But like the benefits of running. And
bro, getting the heart pumping. And even then.
I hate running. But doing something like a high rocks, guys, if you guys ever want to just try and ease your way into it, is a great way of doing it because you're only doing like a K of running and then you're going to some weights and it's really, really challenging. You're not pushing yourself to do a half a marathon or a marathon, but you'll be more open to the idea when you start getting going.
You know what? It's more around cardiovascular health, clearing your mind, getting your heart rate up and running. Even to the point now where a lot of, at least my warm-up is body weight exercises. Pull-ups, dips, body weight squats. I'll go into the stepper. Because as you get older, people start to realise that you're not going to become a bodybuilding mass monster. And what's actually going to bring you more benefits.
Yeah, it's about health, not getting injured in the gym. That's how I want to train now. I don't want to get injured. Obviously, you're still going to have your ego take over sometimes. But the whole goal is not to be the biggest, strongest geezer. It's to look good, feel good.
Plus, if you're the biggest, strongest geezer, that doesn't make you approachable. At least in the eyes of a lot of women out there.
Facts.
And if you're a man, they're not going to want to approach you because you look like a scary guy.
Completely agree. Right, let's go into Married at First Sight.
Yes.
Right, what made you apply for maths if you did?
Yeah.
And what were your main takeaways from doing maths? Tell us what it's all about.
All right, so basically, I did not apply for maths.
I got headhunted. I got scouted.
I got headhunted. No, I was approached on Instagram at that point in time. This is back in 2020, 2021, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time, I had about 400 followers. I was just basically documenting my life. So all these stories that people see me do now on my stories on Instagram, that was me back then. If I have a thought process, if I want to articulate something, I'll try to get it in a video format because it helps you practice the skill of brain to mouth, which is a very important skill they need to have, which helps communication, helps expressing yourself as well. Mm-hmm. They saw that I was in shape and had the ability to get in shape. They saw that I'm a guy with an opinion, and they just hit me up. And the way that I saw it, like, what? Why not?
Yeah.
It seems like something fun and different and exciting. Mm-hmm. Maybe can bring me some opportunities. Mm-hmm. Why not? It's a conversation starter. So that's how I approached it as. And a lot of people that get on these reality TV programs would like and say they're looking for love, they're looking for this or that. No, a lot of them are looking for an opportunity.
Of course. If I ever did a reality show, of course. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying a concept isn't the fact that you could meet the love of your life. But you're also doing it for
All the other reasons.
The views, the followers.
Yeah.
To build your own business. Completely agree with you. I hate when they try to act like it's not. It's just so fake.
It is, man.
Anyway,
And more.
How did you find the cast, and how did you find? Give us a brief snapshot because we haven't got long. Give us a brief snapshot of what the experience is like, and first impressions of meeting your wife.
So basically,
Whitney.
So basically, I'm gonna get down into it. The reason why they call it reality drama is because drama, there's a form of manipulation.
Yes.
There's a form of script writing. There's a form of making people push certain buttons to get certain reactions. Now, with most reality TV programs, I think 1/3 to 1/4 of people are sociopathic narcissists. 1/3 to 1/4 people have got baggage and past historical problems. And 1/3 to 1/4 of people are the down-to-earth people that the public root for. Now, with Married at First Sight, prior to me even going or speaking to them about it, whatever it was, and past the stages and speaking to the psychologists, is that there have been roughly around 30 to 40 seasons across the world of Married at First Sight. And statistically speaking, you have got a 98 to 95% failure rate of even finding anyone.
Can I just chip in there? So I had my boy Adam from Married at First Sight Australia. He went out there and he got like a bad reception after, because he ended up lipsing another wife, although him and his wife were basically in a fake relationship. The wife that he ended up lipsing, they were pretty much like not even together, so it wasn't even that bad, but they made it look bad, blah, blah, blah. But he literally said like, they're supposed to be experts, 3 experts. They don't really come in and do much. They just come in, like, read off scripts. They just come in for the ceremony bit and then they leave. There's no real other interaction with them. And out of their whole season, he said they're all basically they're all paired for the drama, and I know that from reality shows and stuff that I've done before. But the only people that ever made it out of their whole season were 2 people that weren't even paired together.
And the reason why...
One couple made it, and they weren't even paired together. They swapped.
And the reason why is because they do it in such a way where they want as much scandal and cheating as drama.
It's all about the drama.
Because ultimately...
And the public buy into it.
And the public buy into it, man. And... But you know this already, and then with the experts, it's just social media personalities. They're really good at speaking, they're really good at presenting themselves in a certain way. So they're not even like Jordan Peterson's, right? Shout out to my boy Paul, because I like Paul, right? He's
he's amazing.
He's a cool guy. No,
you can tell he's another level as well.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, and he's got a family and all the rest of it. Like, let's be real, man. It's a reality drama. People are just there for their face value because they build enough of an engagement, enough of a follower base where they're seen as quote-unquote experts. And I was privy to all that information to prior going on there. So when it came to the point of speaking to the psychologist, because there's an independent psychologist that actually gives you tips and bits and pieces along the whole process of like, be careful what you give them, be careful what you say might be used against you. There's even contracts that specify and state that your image and likeness can be used in ways that we see fit.
I do like Paul though.
Yeah,
because he holds both sides accountable. I usually find with all these reality shows, whether it's Love Island, Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, it's always the men being held accountable, not the women. But Paul actually generally holds both sides accountable. I give him credit for that.
So there is that, right? And there needs to be a person in the middle, and there needs to be a person on the fence, there needs to be a person that says pro or against. But the reason why a lot of women, right, again, blanket statement, are not held accountable in regards to their actions and how they act, is because most of the viewership is women.
But who gets slapped? It's a woman slapping a man. Who gets swelled? And then we brush it under the rug. If it was the other way around,
yeah. But there's double
jail time. I agree.
You know, there's double standards around it, man, and Nate, we know what it's like. But that's it.
But we get on with it. We get on
with it, yeah.
Okay, so what was your first impressions of Whitney? And can I just say one thing? Me and my ex-missus used to have banter about this before even meeting you for so long, because her voice was like, Duka. When you turned around, I was just like, what is that? Like, she was just so catty, and her voice was so drowned in, and she was trying to do the whole posh thing, and she was just like, every single time, Duka, you're so fake, you're fake. Like, we bantered about this for years, yeah? And then we're at the same rave, and then your boy introduced you to me, and I'm like, nah, this is too fun. This is just when we broke up. I had to get a video of you, and then we've become boys since. It's so weird how that all happened.
But you know what? So when it comes to first interaction,
be honest.
I'll be honest. I thought, okay, maybe she's not all there, right? I'll be honest.
What about looks-wise?
Looks-wise, it wasn't my cup of tea either.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think she was sexy though? A little sexy?
You know what?
Fake teeth?
No. Not at all. So when I looked at it, because my thing is, my stereotype or my type in women is blonde or brunettes.
Yeah.
Gym goers, they got some curves about them, they are bubbly, they like to down beers.
She looked like she could probably. She looked like she was quite in shape. No.
She was just genetically skinny.
Skinny. Okay.
So he had nothing to do with that. There's no regards around her, because as soon as I turned around, I went into survival mode. I knew what I was there for. I knew what the show was about, and because I've been around so many different types of people, growing up, going from country to country, being around recruitment, being around stripping, being around HR, I've come across such crazy footfall, a number of people, and my people skills and being able to judge characters is so, I suppose, high that I could tell straight away I knew what time it was. Because I knew she'd be the type of person where she'd try and bait a reaction out of me, then victimize herself for lashing out for the reaction that she baited on. Rather than play that game, people, I just sat back down, did what I need to do for the camera, and then when cameras are switched off, I go down Canary Wharf, down Pints, go down Gandalf's pub, because you know the guy that played Gandalf? He has a pub down by Canary Wharf. Mm-hmm. I'll be there doing paintings and drawings and stuff in my spare time. I'll keep away from them. Keep away from them. There's a few cast members that I was down to earth I still keep in touch with, but majority of them, it's all superficial, man. Yeah. Even comes to social media, they're about fake social media engagement. If they don't get enough likes on particular posts, they hide their posts or they hide their likes counter. And a lot of them will buy fake followers.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. So, on your show, did you ever want to try and make the relationship work?
Bro, I was there to try and get my, I suppose, success afterwards. I was even focused.
How did you cope with her level of disrespect? Because I never could have had that. I didn't care what setting we're in. I would have told her about herself straight up.
Because I could tell the more that she was trying to bait me into an argument or try to be disrespectful, the more it's getting under her skin. And personally, I found.
Trust me, this guy loves a debate. Like me and him, he'll be raising his voice like this. I'm like, what? Where was this energy on Married at First Sight, bro?
Yeah, but you know it was, and had I done that, I think
you would have looked like the bad guy.
I would have looked like the bad guy, and secondly, it would have fed her need of what she set out to do.
Yeah.
And for me, I found more peace and more pleasure in actually taking a step back. Not going against her because I personally...
You smashed it, bro. Yeah, you played a blinder and now you've become an influencer, right? So how do you find being an influencer?
You know what? It's not much different to how I was before as a person.
Yeah.
I'm still the same person. I still do the same things I was doing before. Have I really truly capitalized on I suppose my platform? Not as much as I would have, but then again, I've been able to get a house out of it afterwards. I've been able to get my own place. I've been able to build my character. I've been able to go through this character development and growth. So therefore, for the next 12 months, I'll be able to fully utilize that.
What have any like serious opportunities come for it? Is it more just being growing your following and
not even the amount of TV programs like Naked Attraction, Dated Naked, Too Hot to Handle. The amount of those types of TV programs that approach my DMs, crazy. You've seen the screenshots.
I had Too Hot to Handle. Yeah, you know when they told you what it was gonna be. The most recent one.
Yeah.
I had Too Hot to Handle. I was like, yo, we're going for the stages. Like, I'm thinking, I went beyond, bro. Bro. I would have loved. That's the one show, yeah. I think at this stage, now I'm 30, I probably would do. Because that just looks like a flipping laugh. And that opens you up worldwide. And then you actually have other opportunities to go into other shows from there.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like all the others now are a bit too, like, I don't know. Like, Married at First Sight, that's a drag, innit? Like, that's 3 months.
It depends on how long you last on there. And secondly, it's just about exposure, man. Like in terms of me going on other shows and vice versa. But I suppose with me trying to make the most of my followers and my platform, I want to do something really worthwhile. I just don't want to be known as a guy that jumps from one thing to that other thing and then make it superficial and shallow engagement. Because I'm not just about for the pretty pictures. Even you know me through my stories and what I speak about when I speak my mind. I like to have depth about me.
Mm-hmm. I like that. All right, so let me ask you a serious question then.
Yeah.
So, as a quick cut, because I know we talked about men and women a lot, we'll focus on the men show after this. But what do you think the biggest challenge facing men and women is today in the dating market?
I think is that division is subconsciously pushed.
Yes.
By society, because we hit on this note before. Through division, you are able better to control subgroups of people, and through division and people being single, it creates a better financial situation for the capitalists, because you become more of a consumer, because you try to fill the void in with materialistic things versus the true core values of what is to be a family and love and togetherness.
Yeah. True. Single income as well.
Well, I mean, you have to look at it from this, ladies. The biggest consumers out there of stuff in society now is women between the ages of 20 to 45.
Isn't it in the US it's like 75%, but then the whole 80% of the consumer debt, which is crazy.
Yeah, and it comes down to people trying to find their life purpose, people trying to find their self-purpose, and people think that they can find it through materialistic things. And then you can't. And then obviously that reflects back on apps. And again, apps are money-making machines because they expect to put credit card details down to get more likes and so on and so forth. And people think, oh yeah, women have got choice because they got the power. Actually, they don't, because usually skewed down to the 5% of men, where therefore they've either grown up in a very poor, very, very rich family background, or they built up themselves. So ultimately, in the dating market, short-term or long-term, majority of men and women are failing. And it's out there, and it's to everyone's disadvantage. It's only the few small percent that's seen the benefits out of this, because ever since the inception of dating apps, there's 5 times more sexless men, there's less courtship happening, there's a lot of these different variables. And you think, wait, hold up, how is a dating app that's supposed to be fixing problems of dating and hooking up is actually making it worse?
But is it making it worse, or is it just exposing the harsh realities of how skewed dating is in general?
I think it's because it's globalizing dating, so therefore people think the grass is greener than the other side. Through a globalized dating market, if you're hot and you're on Tinder and the guy across the country sees you and swipes right on you, it means that you're no longer part of that same dating pool of your own habitat. Because back in the day, in a small little town like Bam or vice versa, guy or girl hooking up, whereas now, you got all these distractions of grass is always greener, something is always better, and then people are not impervious or not aware of their own mortality. But as they get older and then don't actually focus on bettering their lives and focus on their health and their looks and how they feel and who they are and growing themselves as characters, are going to fall waywards of this globalized dating market, because the looks is seen as a currency and that looks will go down. It's a very complex thought process.
It's not just me that speaks about this stuff, guys. Different guys say everyone sees it, just say it in a slightly different way. Completely agree. Let me ask you a quick question before I go into a couple more serious questions. Because we only got 7 minutes left max, maybe even 5. We obviously both enjoy a party. That's how our group's been formed. What a group has been formed, you know. But a lot of us only met last year.
Across the country, literally. It's a friendship group of like multiple individuals
and
across the country. Different sizes, different heights, different skin colours, different backgrounds, different cultures. It's a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. What do you think killed clubbing, and why? Raving's still high. Yeah. Festivals are huge. However, clubbing, when you going out in Brum, I used to go out in Brum. I've done Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Being out there when Leslie used to live there, had the best time ever. Now, going out on a Thursday and Friday in Brum is dead.
The reason why I think because people are sick to death of this whole, I suppose, Instagram bougie culture.
Ooh, my boy, smashed it.
And the reason why they're sick to death, they're sick to death of people spending their paychecks on bottle popping and tables.
Bottle service killed the club industry. It took all the fun and it made it way more status based.
Yeah, no, everyone wants to go out because they want to let their hair down. Hence why people are more keen on going to festivals and going to raves, because people can express themselves more through the clothes that they wear. People can let their hair down and really be judged. You know, the music is different. The music isn't part of mainstream media. It's not part of legacy media. It's something different, and people can express themselves differently.
Yeah, and I think it takes away that, like, everybody's a bit more on an equal playing field, but you want to just have, you've got mixed groups of guys and girls. It's not all about, like, the girls get the free entry, then they have to be on the table all night, and then they feel like they have to be controlled by the promoter. Yeah, I get you're going to get that in a lot of, like, Miami cities where it's super expensive and girls get a free night. But outside of that, especially in the UK, we have a little bit more of that, just like...
Yeah, no one wants equality, man. I'm sick to death of seeing girls get free passes into bars and clubs because they're just a girl. At least when it comes to raving and festivals, that doesn't really happen. Everyone's treated on a playing field.
Facts. What do you think that men need to focus on in 2025 to build healthier relationships and habits? I'm quite proud of that question, actually.
I think the answer is in the question itself: habits. So,
Alright, do you know what? Take away habits, because I put that in brackets.
right.
Build healthier relationships.
And even then, it comes down to discipline of routine. So what I mean by that is that a lot of people don't have self-purpose because they just do a 9-5, they go home and sit down and watch telly, right? If I said to you, what are the consequences of not wiping your ass after you take a shit, or what are you going to say? Stinking, right? Smelling. So therefore, due to the negative consequences presenting themselves there and then, you're going to wipe your ass. But a lot of people are not aware, due to their lack of actions, the negative consequences that they're going to have in 20, 30, 40 years' time. And that means no relationship, being lonely, fucked up livers, fucked up kidney, fucked up heart. And by not having that discipline at a younger age, to understand that you are actually mortal, you're going to go down a deep downward spiral where things going to fuck up.
So you think that people don't take that seriously because it's not directly
affecting them then.
Yeah.
If you master discipline and routine and doing the right things, and
but how are they going to get to even understand that discipline if they can't see the issues them in the face, on face value at that moment in time?
I mean, trying to be open-minded about the world around you. If you see Dottie on a wheelchair, why is Dottie in a wheelchair? If you see the lonely old cat lady, the lonely old cat lady that drinks five bottles of wine with cats. Why do you think she got that way? If you see a guy that's got heart problems,
but it goes deeper than that, right? Because people don't think. People go, yeah, but that won't be me. Until it's. Do you know what I mean? What?
I think something serious needs to happen in their lives, which in my life has, because of the Civil War. I think something dramatically serious needs to happen in their lives for them to book up their ideas. Up until the point that happens.
So what advice would you recommend them go do? Would you say go take up something like boxing? Understand what it's like to be punched in the face, put yourself through some hardship, and then you start to understand life a bit more about what it is.
You know what?
Especially that's going to get you fit. If you have fitness issues, that's going to make you more attractive. These kind of things.
I think that save up a bit of money. So my plan, if you have to say this without going down the rabbit hole, save a bit of money,
travel,
do some traveling, see what the world is outside of like your direct bubble. See the hardships that people go through. Understand what love truly is. Understand what happiness truly is. And then when you come back with that different mindset, then help you appreciate and understand purpose.
How good you got it. And purpose,
And then what health really matters.
Completely.
And then safety and a roof over your head, and then being able to order a Ben & Jerry's ice cream from Uber Eats.
So I completely agree with what Duka said, and also, guys, do what I did. You don't have to. People always say it. So many people say it. Oh yeah, but I don't have the money. Da, 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 or like, sorry, no, he has the money. Sorry, take that work. He has the money, but he's like, oh, it's gonna be expensive, and I just want to work and earn money. Fair enough. But if you're young, if you're young, go out, do it, and get yourself a little bar job when you're out there. You can work when you're out there, a little bar job. You're going to be loving life anyway, not too many hours. Just basically spend the money that you earn, so you're not touching any of your bank accounts. So you still get your bank account to do whatever you need, but just basically earn your spending money out there. And in these countries, the pound is so raw that like, you're gonna have a load of money out there anyway. If you like, let's say even if you had, I never ever spent what I actually, I never ever touched my card. But I go out there with like a few euros from the sun, whatever. That's very, very dear in somewhere like a Thailand, for example. So go out and do it and work out there as well to make it feasible for yourself and not stress yourself out money wise.
Just experience the world, experience people, build your people skills, build your life experiences.
Build your dating skills.
And understand what dating like is different countries and different cultures. Because you understand what true love is like and how people cope one another in different cultures and different societies. Because ultimately it comes down to when that mate comes around, when that Grim Reaper starts rolling through with his big long black veil on that side, ladies and gents, not to get too poetic.
Talking about me,
right? When that side comes along and he swipes across here, right? You're not going to be worrying about that Rolex watch, that 40, 50 grand car, that thing you once that was on Instagram and you had to wear. But the thing that will flash before your eyes is the happy moments of throwing those paper airplanes because you wanted to win a pair of grapes behind you with your old man.
Beautiful. And I think that is the thing to end on. And I got one question for you. Do you want to plug anything, by the way?
Hey, listen, it's not even a plug about anything. If you saw this and it gave you some aspiration, it made you help change your mind and any of the subjects or topics that I spoke about, please go on Google, do some more reading. If you're happy about your life, try and get yourself out there, find your life's purpose, and go from there.
And if you disagree with anything we said, we're happy to go on like a live or whatever and discuss this over
If you
Instagram.
don't like any of our comments, if you don't agree with anything of what we said,
don't be actual moan about it. Come and debate it because we're both on hand to debate.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Yeah.
Underneath, share your views,
Respectful.
express yourself. Listen, man, it's a bad world out there.
It's about talking about these taboo subjects so people can learn, build their own minds for themselves, and not just take what they see on TV. Last question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your younger self, if any? Now you're Duka now.
Duka, bro, stay tough. Stay tough and push through. Stay resilient, because you're crying on the stairs. It's actually touching me, right? You're crying on the stairs. You're trying to put a brave face on for mum and dad. You're going through a lot of challenges, but you're gonna get through it. And when there's no light at the end of the tunnel, when there's no thing around you to help you, just keep walking. Just keep walking. Honestly, just keep walking.
It's amazing, man. It's actually amazing. It's amazing. I didn't even know a load of any of that stuff about your life story as well and what you've gone through. And I always use that as motivation, you know, whenever I'm going for like a grueling high rocks at the moment, I'm trying to get fit and I'm trying to push myself. I always think of people that have got it worse than me. Or I always think of people that are at war. And I'm like, I'm not going through anything. I can get through this workout because there's people dying for me at this moment in time. There's people putting their life on the line for me. There's people that's in the Gaza Strip.
Bro, imagine you can't even make it out.
You can get through. You can push yourself an extra couple of minutes. You can push yourself. So yeah, thank you for honestly opening up about that. That's amazing. It's always great to hear from real people with mad experiences.
Yeah.
I think it just makes everything a lot more real.
Yeah, it does. Appreciate more. Appreciate more.
Yeah.
You know what? And now I'm hoping that people go through this and listen to what I've had to say. Now, hopefully, people can understand why myself as a man am more passionate.
And people wouldn't. Yes, passionate. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being passionate as a guy. I find that as well. They want to they want to feminize men, but then when a guy's passionate, it's he's giving it incel. He's giving. Hey, you can't win as a guy. You can't win as a guy nowadays unless you just shut up and be mute. But honestly, I love these kind of conversations, man. Thank you.
It's lovely having you, man.
And,
lovely having us. Lovely having this. So
let's go out and be the lads that we are and go have a good time.
Actually, you know what? We're gonna have fancy cocktails.
We're going for cocktails. We're going for a brunch.
We're going for a brunch. And that's a massive difference because usually you go out raving, go to some festival, God knows where, halfway across the country. But today we're going to do something awesome. We're going to do daytime activities with our friends, some cocktails, and nice food. And we can't wait.
We can't wait. Thank you guys for tuning in. And this is going to be live, so you guys can watch this ASAP. However, all your clips, favourite bits are going to be out in a couple of weeks' time. Love, peace.